Hello and welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we had a great conversation with Dr. Phillip Yoo. And Phillip is in California, and he helps people who are in knee pain, shoulder pain, back pain, spine stenosis, a whole list of different things that they're able to relieve with stem cell therapy. And, it reminded me exactly of the episode that we did with Melton, who I'll post the link up in the show notes for you as well. But it was, they're using the same kind of model, using ads to invite people to a workshop and then educating them about the process. And from the workshop, people will come into the office and get evaluated and then choose to do some stem cell and some laser guided therapy. So we talked about the importance of identifying your ideal prospects, turning visible or invisible prospects into visible by using a book instead of using the workshop as the way of first getting in touch with them. So I think you'll enjoy this episode. It's a reinforcement of what we talked about with Melton, and I think you will enjoy it, especially if you're using workshops as a lead generation source. So here we go.
Dr. Phillip Yoo.
Hey, Dean.
How are you?
All right. Yeah, I'm doing awesome.
Okay. Well, welcome. I've been looking at the ads and things that you sent over, or your postcards here. So, welcome to the call. I'm seated in my evil scheming position, ready for duty.
All right, let's do it.
So, can you kind of share a little bit about who you are and the background here and where you think we might be able to find the big breakthrough for you?
Yeah, so by trade, I'm originally a doctor of chiropractic, but as you may well know, just like there's a dentist on every street corner, there's also a chiropractor on every street corner. So if you're just offering generic dental or chiropractic services, you're more of a commodity. So when I started a practice here in California, I was blindsided because all of a sudden 2008, 2009, all these companies were going out of business. They pulled back their insurance coverages, and I was like 3 months from closing my doors. Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I knew I had to find a way to go into a cash practice model, because you can't depend on third-party insurance, and B, I had to find out to get cash in a prepaid model. So I had to differentiate myself. So I discovered this doctor in Utah. He was using these class 4 lasers in his chiropractic practice. So I flew up there, paid him some money to get some consulting, learned how to do the decompression laser, how to do cash, and from there I was able to not only save my practice, but we made a pretty good business out of it. Now, a few years ago, then every chiropractor started getting these lasers. So again, you're a commodity. So I had to find out how to differentiate myself again. So, and now the new niche is to get into regenerative medicine, which is a stem cell therapy.
Yes.
So
okay.
again, I learned how to implement the stem cell therapy. It's not easy. You have to integrate with a medical doctor. You have to hire a medical team, medical assistants, nurse practitioners. It took several months to set it up with a medical attorney, but we just launched that last month, and that's what we're doing now. So
okay, and how's that working so far? So now you've been doing this for a couple of years, like this.
Just like I said before, it is like kind of a new niche in the healthcare industry, but there are stem cell clinics popping up everywhere, especially Southern California. So again, why are my stem cells better than someone else's? Well, so what I've done is I've married laser therapy with stem cell therapy. So I call my program laser guided stem cell grafting.
Oh,
and
my.
Not only did I differentiate myself again, but it's actually more effective because the research is showing that the lasers actually help the stem cells grow. And just to break it down to layman's terms, just have you ever grown a plant in your house before? A plant. You put the seeds in the soil, in the little pot, and where do you put the plant? On the windowsill, right?
Right.
Why is that?
That's where the light is.
There you go. What direction do the plant stems grow?
Right, towards the light.
Yeah, you notice how the stems go towards the sun. So what I found out was every cell has a little battery. It's called a mitochondria. And in the mitochondria, it's a little technical, is what's called your cytochrome C complex. That needs ATP energy to cause cell division, which is the stem cells replicating and growing so you can repair your body, regrow new tissue. That's the regenerative process. And the laser gives the cell ATP energy, so it can continue to repair and divide your body cells. And so that's what our laser guided system helps. So.
Wow. Okay, so it's a combination of injections and the laser treatment too.
Yeah, and that's just the bare bones. I mean, it's a whole program because you can't just, let's say, a lot of people have pain in their knee, all right?
Yes.
And a lot of people have pain on the inside of their knee, especially golfers, the left inside knee, because that's when they roll on it when they swing. Well,
sure, yeah.
A lot of people have pain there because they overuse that part of their joint. They tear their meniscus because of the rotation, the twisting. Yeah. And a lot of people develop what's called a bow leg, all right? Now, if you have bow leg, that means you've lost cartilage on the inside of the knee. So let's say we stick the stem cells in that part, the inside of the knee. How do we know the stem cells are going to stay there? Because stem cells, they tend to spread around. So you might have wasted that injection because a lot of those cells aren't staying in the medial knee. So to ensure the cells stay there, what the laser does, it acts like let's say a light glue. All right. Mm-hmm. Because the stem cells are attracted to the laser, think about it. If I put the stem cells in the inside of the knee, follow it with a laser at a certain nanometers, about 630 nanometers, those stem cells will stay there because it wants that ATP energy, and that way you're not wasting your injection.
Right? Gotcha.
And there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways to amplify to ensure the cells stay, repair, and replicate. Sure. You have to make what's called an alkaline environment. So we'll put bicarbonate solution in that part of the knee, which is alkaline, and that helps the stem cells make a positive environment to grow. And then you have to detox your body. I mean, it's a whole program. Yeah.
Yes. Now, where did the stem cells come from?
Okay, so there's several types. Now, originally, this doctor from Korea called Dr. Hyung Lee discovered there are stem cells in your fat cells.
All right.
So, now there was a lot of surgeons in the U.S. doing plastic surgery where they would do liposuction, right? They take the fat from your abdominal and throw it out.
Yeah.
But then Dr. Lee was going, why are you throwing the adipose cells out? That's liquid gold. Those have stem cells in there.
Okay.
So adipose-derived stem cells, that used to be the gold standard. They take it out of your fat, put it back in the part of your body that needs repair. And a lot of times that would work. And then other doctors are taking it from your bone marrow. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with these procedures is, it is a surgical extract. You can get an infection in the bone or your fat area.
Yeah.
And then the older you get, the less stem cell count you have. So now, if you're a young Olympic athlete, like Michael Phelps per se, and he doesn't have a lot of fat, but they'd probably take it from his bone marrow because you have to have some fat to take it from.
Sure, yeah.
Now, when you're a young, healthy athlete, your cells are going to be vibrant. They're not going to be as toxic. You're going to have a large count, and it's going to work for you. However, if you're over 55, if you're 60, 70, 80, you're not going to have a lot of stem cells left. They're going to be toxic and what's called apoptotic, which means they're going under cell death.
Okay.
So it doesn't make sense to take an 80-year-old stem cell from your fat or bone marrow and put it in an 80-year-old knee or IV it for systemic health. And most likely it's going to fail because you don't have a high count. Now,
so
if you're in Germany, if you're out of the country, what you can do is you could take your stem cells from your bone marrow or your fat, and you can expand it, which means they'll culture it. They'll grow it to 10 times the amount, then put it in your body. That makes sense. But that's outlawed in the U.S. You can't do it. You have to fly to Panama, Mexico, and Germany. So unless you're Peyton Manning or Kobe Bryant with zillions of dollars, you're not going to be able to afford to do that.
Right.
So here's the solution. We use umbilical cord-derived stem cells, for a company in Utah. Mm-hmm. And the advantage of that is you get a high count of cells. They're freshly born. And you don't have to have a surgical extract like the bone marrow or adipose. So that solves that issue. All right. So it's kind of like you're getting a restart on your joint or your nerve or the body part or even organ that needs regeneration. All right. Now, a lot of people confuse umbilical cord-derived stem cells with embryonic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Embryonic is when you're, by the way, we're a stem cell. It's nothing mysterious, all right? Because when your father and mother procreated, the sperm and the egg met, and thus we are born. We're an embryo. And then our cells divide, you become a fetus. And then when you're born, the umbilical cord is there as well. So umbilical cord is actually called, it's an adult matured stem cell tissue because it's already matured. The baby's already born, which means it cannot grow into a human. It cannot grow into a tumor or cancer because those cells are already adult matured. However, when you're born, you have a high count of what's called mesenchymal stem cells, which could differentiate into cartilage, into nerve, or organs that need to be regenerated. So there's no risk of the cell turning into a tumor or another human. So there's nothing unethical about it. In fact, President Bush outlawed embryonic in his administration, so we cannot do that in the U.S. anyways. So.
Okay. Wow. So this all sounds very well thought out scientifically, and I imagine it's been around and proven. What kind of results does it get? What's your outcome?
Okay, let me give you an example. So we always start the majority of our patients on the laser therapy, all right, and some decompression, maybe some chiropractic, all right. But the truth of the matter is, most of our patients are baby boomers or seniors, very fragile. You're going to take a risk doing traditional chiropractic manipulation, so we try to do it very gentle with an instrument called ArthroStim, which is a tool that helps gently align the spine. But however, the bread and butter is our class 4 lasers. So we'll give them several laser treatments for, let's say, their bone-on-bone knee, all right, or their peripheral neuropathy, numbness of their feet. And if they don't respond, that's telling us that their body does not have enough stem cells to repair.
Okay.
Right? You see, not everybody needs to have stem cells injected into them because if you have good genetics and a good, healthy lifestyle, you may have enough stem cells to repair yourself. And what the laser does, it helps activate your body's natural dormant stem cells to wake up, go to the target tissue and repair. But however, if the laser in itself does not work, then at that point, we offer them to have the umbilical cord stem cell therapy added to their laser program. So let's say you asked, well, what's the success rate? In general, I'd say for the typical chronic pain patient, baby boomers or seniors with osteoarthritis or some type of peripheral neuropathy, I'd say with the laser itself between 50 and 70% success.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had the stem cells, we're talking up to 90s. It's amazing. I had a patient, she underwent several weeks of laser therapy, for her bone-on-bone knee and numbness, pain in her legs or feet called peripheral neuropathy. She's 91 years old. Didn't make much results, so I offered her the stem cell option. She went for it. So we put the stem cells in her knee. We IV'd stem cells in her brachial vein in her arm. And then we put the infrared lights on her feet to draw the stem cells from the IV to her feet. And then we lasered her knee to draw the stem cells in there, just target tissue. And after 5 days, she's 50% better.
Wow, that's amazing, huh?
At 91 years old. Yeah.
Wow, so people
usually it takes about 5 weeks. Yeah. Usually it takes 5 weeks for the stem cells to graft and get the results, but she made results in 5 days. So
that's so great. So
now, did you get my postcard with the before and after X-rays on the back?
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, the osteo.
So that is Bernice right there. That's it. Yeah, that's the 91-year-old patient.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. I'll put this up on the show notes too, so people can see what we're talking about. But yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, I feel at least 50% better in my bone-on-bone knee and peripheral neuropathy pain and numbness in my legs and feet after only 5 days after having my laser-guided stem cell therapy. That's great.
And you can see that. You can see that before and after X-ray. No, that's not her knees. That's another patient. But you can see it's bone on the left. And 9 weeks later, you can see the joint space is starting to be restored.
Gotcha. But that's the lay person on a postcard like this. I don't really notice the difference. I mean, you can slightly see that there's more.
Yeah, I mean the postcard printer. I told him, make sure you make that knee X-ray stand out. If you're a senior, it's going to be hard to see that. They probably have to have a magnifying glass, but yeah, we got to change that. Yeah.
So what's the? Tell me about these postcards. Is this the primary way that you find people? Let's kind of get into the marketing side of it now. You've got the blessing of something that provides relief when other things don't. You've got a 90% success rate. You've got a graduated program where you start out with the laser just in case you don't need the stem cells, but then you've got that in your back pocket if it's something that they need. And how long is the treatment program typically?
So we'll typically start out people with what's called a 2-week laser trial, all right? And that'll be typically about 6 treatments over the span of 2 weeks. You see, the thing that people hate about chiropractic is they think that you want to try to get them to come for life,
Yeah.
Typically we would sell, you got to come 3 times a week for 3 months. And you got to prepay $6,000 for the whole amount. It's a hard sell,
Right.
And that's what was in the decompression days. But now you can't do that. People are more skeptical.
Right.
And then I felt real bad when someone would come to me for 30 visits over 3 months for decompression and laser, and they're still in pain. So they're either going to be crying for a refund or you have to extend their treatment plan. But now we have a program where after 6 treatments, if they don't get the results, we can fall on the stem cell option, and it's only 1 visit, and we get 90% success rate instead of having to see him 3 months with a 50 to 70% chance. So that's the beauty of it.
Okay, and how much does that cost? The what people end up paying for the laser and the stem cell? What's the average kind of? So
if we do just the laser program itself, we don't really do it by the visit because it takes at least 2 weeks to really notice a difference in these, chronic degenerative cases. Typically, it'll cost around $1,650 for a set of 6 treatments. Yeah, and that's just with the laser and all the other chiropractic and decompression. And we also do pulse electromagnetic field therapy with the magnets. So it's not like you're coming here and you're getting adjusted and lasered and you leave in 10 minutes. You're here for an hour. It's more like a laser spa type atmosphere, which justifies it breaks down to about $275 a visit.
Yeah.
1650.
And how long are
the
treatments?
About an hour. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
And then
the stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how many milliliters or vials you need, because the lab we order it from sells it by the milliliter. So let's say your typical garden variety bone-on-bone knee. All right.
Yep.
We like to put 2 milliliters in there. A lot of clinics only put 1 milliliter. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So typically that'll cost just around $6,000 per joint or per tissue. All right.
Okay.
Now, let's take Bernice, the 91-year-old who had neuropathy and bone-on-bone. We put 2 milliliters in her knee, all right, and 2 milliliters IV'd in her arm, which would circulate through the lungs in her body, and then the infrared lights would pull those cells to her legs and feet, right? So she had 4 units. I mean, that's a $12,000 case right there.
Okay. And is that typical or not? Somebody would...
At this population, it seems like just the typical American, they're getting more osteoarthritis, they're getting more nerve damage in their hands and feet. It's becoming more typical than one might think. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how do you find people now? Tell me how the before unit of this works. We've talked about the during unit. You're able to get the result for people 50% of the time or 70% with the laser. Then if you need to, you've got the stem cells, and that gets you up to 90+%. So pretty dramatic results, really great, like a dream come true for people like we talk about, right? That they're able to live kind of pain-free or greatly reduced pain. So how do you find people now? How does the before unit of this work?
All right. So I visited this dentist, and he does a specific procedure that not a lot of dentists do. So he'll pretty much give you like laughing gas during your implant. When you get the teeth implanted, right?
Yeah.
Why can't I think of that word? What is that? What is it? Implantation of new teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, and he would have people all around Southern California going to his office. I think it's in Riverside here, because he's one of the only dentists to do this for some reason. So I went to one of his seminars, and he had more than 100 people there, and I noticed his banner sign. It says new teeth in one day, and I'm like, great,
teeth in a day, right?
I would love to be able to claim like new knees in one day, new nerves in your feet in one day. And so what I did was I said, okay, new knees in 2 weeks. So, and that was just the laser. Mm-hmm. And now with the stem cells, we could legitimately claim new knees in one day because it's one injection.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's where I kind of learned that, I need to do seminars, and I hated doing that because it takes a lot of time. It's time away from your family because they had to do it at dinner or lunch or something. But a lot of people I find, if they're well educated, then when they come to their office, it's just easier. It's easier to get them to start and commit to treatment. Yeah. So now we make most of our patients go to a seminar about the laser therapy, about the pulse electromagnetic therapy and laser-guided stem cell grafting before they sit in front of me. Because if they sit in front of me without any knowledge, I got to spend an hour educating a seminar, and then I'm worn out. And most likely they're getting fire hose with too much information. They'll say, "Thank you, I'll think about it." Yeah.
Right. So, what is if you were narrating how the before unit works, like we were on how it's made? You start out with who do you target? Do you do postcards? Do you do newspaper ads? Do you do Facebook ads? AdWords? What are you doing?
All right, so
to find people?
I'm kind of a Dan Kennedy geek, and as you know, Dan is not fond of online, right? He's not fond of Facebook. So and I've experimented with, I think, 4 different Facebook companies. We've either went minus or we broke even, targeting our niche with our baby boomers or seniors with a certain income level, suffering from some type of chronic pain, usually osteoarthritis or peripheral neuropathy. All right.
Okay.
Obviously
what exactly, we do have. Can you just, as a sidebar, can you explain to me what peripheral neuropathy is? I hear that word, but I don't know what that means.
In Latin, periphery means anything in the extremities, like outside the brain. Typically your arms, hands, or legs or feet, right?
Yes.
Neuropathy, neuro means nerve. Pathy is pathologic, means disease of the nerve. So any type of numbness, tingling, pain, loss of balance, loss of muscle strength in your extremity, your arms, hands, legs, or feet is peripheral neuropathy, typically caused by, pinched nerves in your neck or your back, like stenosis or herniated disc, or systemic, metabolic, like diabetic neuropathy, or if you're taking statin drugs, that causes neuropathy.
Right.
If you're a smoker, alcoholic, that damages the nerves. Chemotherapy fries up your nerves. So
Okay, got it. Okay, so mostly, the online stuff so far hasn't worked because I won't let you. You can't just say.
You know what? I'm still
Facebook
trying to
doesn't
crack
work
the code.
Or whatever. Yeah, so that's the thing.
On my target market, I'm still trying to crack the code on online or social media, to get a sustainable referral source. Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. And so you rely on the offline things. Tell me about this postcard, because that's what I'm holding right here. So how does this play out? If this is the beginning, who do you target to send these postcards to?
So I have two different versions. I think I sent you both.
Yeah.
You have both versions in front of you. So there's one that has a picture of a gift card. All right.
Mm-hmm. The one I have says Stem Cell Institute of America. That's the one.
There should be one on the back of it where it shows Bernice, that patient.
Yeah, and let's see that.
Patient.
Right. Is that the
now,
same?
There's two versions.
The back of the same postcard?
Yes. Yeah, but I have two versions. So one postcard actually has it's an offer for a consultation, stem cell consultation in the office with me or an associate doctor. And then there's a coupon for $16.50. Now, this is only offered to if you've been with us before and you paid $16.50. All right. And this version is sent out to our patient house list. All right.
Okay.
So, and the majority of those people have been to our office. They've paid at least $16.50 for their 6 laser treatments. So this is kind of reactivation campaign for those who they either came to the office, got their 6 visits, made great results, and they graduated, or they got their 6 visits, paid the $16.50, and they didn't come back because they didn't have good results. All right.
Yeah.
So this is meant to give them an incentive to come try the stem cells, and then the gift certificate. It's kind of like, well, what they paid before didn't go to waste because they could use it as a credit towards their laser-guided stem cell treatment.
Okay.
All right. And the second version. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So let's go, since the one I have. So that's kind of a renewal campaign kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
a lost customer reactivation campaign. Yeah.
I gotcha. So this one, the Stem Cell Institute of America postcard. How does that work out? What do you do with that?
All right. So the other one is just it's mailed out to a direct mail list that we buy. All right.
Okay.
The general overlay is 55 years and older, with an income of $100,000 or more, and you're a homeowner. So It's a more expensive list because the overlay is very specific. This is the list we got for this is going out to 20,000 households. This postcard has a different code than the other, so we could track it. And that phone number, the 888, that goes to a tracking number, so we can see how many calls are coming in from this number. And then when they make an appointment for the seminar, our call center asks them what the RSVP code is. That way we can track if this campaign was successful or not. All right.
Okay. Must mention the code. SCI.
Now this is a test. We never mailed out this postcard to this list before, so we'll see the results because they are being mailed out as we speak. So.
Okay, so these are on their way right now. So we don't have. You haven't used this one in the field yet.
This is a test. Yeah.
Okay.
Before I used to mail out a 12-page newsletter type publication which talked about the laser and magnets and each niche condition like osteoarthritis, neuropathy, spinal stenosis, failed back surgery. But this time we're just testing the postcard for now. Yeah.
Okay. And have you done postcards in the past, or is this?
I have with. Yeah, I did not get good results. We did a campaign with the same size postcard for osteoarthritis of the knee, and it pretty much flopped. So. Okay.
And so, how much does it cost for you to mail? You're mailing all 20,000 of the same postcard?
This is about 38 cents a piece.
Okay.
So 38 times 20,000 postcards. It's the morning, I can't add, but whatever that comes out to be. Not cheap.
I got you. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's about $8,000, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, bottom line is you got a high price.
But here's the deal. So I spent $8,000. We're mailing out 20,000 of these. In reality, all I really need is one stem cell case.
Yeah.
And let's say they do a double. Well, that's $12,000.
Right.
I'm pretty much breaking even because I gotta count, the call center fee.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Else.
Like I look at it that's the way people kind of go and think about direct mail like that, right? So you're thinking, but when you look at it, there's some opportunity for you here, and the challenge is that you are focusing on the getting people to the call to action is to come to this to the workshop, right?
Yeah.
But it's not really crystal clear that that's what's going on. So let's talk a little bit about your postcard here, because right now, when you look at it, the lead headline is Stem Cell Institute of America. That's the headline, right? Which is not a benefit. And then do you suffer from, with this long list of arrowed things: neck pain, shoulder pain, low back pain, sciatic leg pain, hip or knee osteoarthritis, spine stenosis, disc disease, peripheral neuropathy, plantar fasciitis, failed surgery, stop the pain, get relief without surgery. So we would call that all kind of your headline, because that's up there, the first thing that we see. And then you've got the illustration of the man with the hot points on the ankle, the knee, the hip, the elbow, the shoulder. And so we immediately would kind of, when you look at it, just the visual cues, that's kind of the, internationally accepted visual cues for pain, right? Is the glowing hot embers on the on those hot spots there. and we're jumping that out, stop the pain, and then find out if regenerative medicine is right for you. Regenerative medicine uses adult human tissue cells to regenerate and repair tissues in your body. They're damaged due to injury, age, disease, and defects. Some stem cells have the power to go to these damaged areas and generate new cells and rebuild the area. Safe, ethical, effective. Upcoming seminars: Palm Desert, La Quinta, Rancho Mirage, 7 or 8 locations. For dates and times, go to laserstemed.com and reserve your spot today. And you've got the phone number, which is a tracking number you set so that you can track when which calls are coming from it. Okay, so it's funny that you're along this same line here. Have you tested this or this messaging in a newspaper
ad? Yeah, I tested it.
Yeah,
this same design in a newspaper ad. Yeah.
Okay. And what happened in the newspaper when you ran this?
Okay, I could pull out the stats here. I use Richard Sapella's ROI guy to track that. I gave him a free plug. All right. Hopefully it lets me log in. Let's see.
Okay.
I'll just tell you this much. Just from the stats I've seen, we are getting people to the seminar from this half-page ad design.
Yes.
And I just got to get the exact numbers here. Let's see. Better stem cell seminar, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's very funny. I don't know whether you heard the episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers with Melton, who they're doing something almost identical in Louisville, in Kentucky, and they're driving by newspaper ads, and one of the things, this is the same sort of thought process that I'm going to go through with you, is that they were using full-page and half-page newspaper ads that look like articles, like they were really, direct response kind of articles. And they ended up where they would run the ads and they would get people to come to a workshop, and then they would do the workshop and get people to come into the office. And what I suggested on the podcast, same thing I'm going to suggest for you, is that when you're doing a workshop as the response mechanism, the thing that limits you is that you have to have people who are interested in the information that you have, and then in addition to that, they have to be available to come to the workshop and willing to come to a workshop, right? So you've got some hoops for people to overcome. And what I suggested is that if you were to do a book instead of the workshop as the response mechanism, you would get more people to respond because they can respond instantly to get it, and you get the extended benefit of having more opportunities to invite them to future workshops.
Yeah, that's funny because I do have a book I wrote about the lasers, and we give that to our guests who come to our laser seminar.
Yeah.
So,
but I think
I need to work on a book about. I need to work on a book about the stem cells, so maybe you can help me with that.
Well, that's exactly right. I got an email from Melton that he said, because I asked about what had happened since our podcast, and he said, since our conversation, we've seen our leads and conversions grow substantially, where we were getting where we were attracting 20 to 30 new people a month to our seminars, we're now attracting 80 to 100 and having to add additional overflow events to accommodate everyone that would like to attend. This was accomplished by adopting your recommendation of using a book as our lead magnet rather than the one-step process of inviting anyone interested to attend our seminars. The book helped us to establish our credibility and authority, plus enabled us to build a list of over 1,000 people interested in our program in a very short time frame. So what's happening right now is you've chosen 20,000 people who, by all sort of indications, are a higher propensity to be your clients, right? You've got 20,000 people over 55 who make $100,000 a year. So you've got a good group of what I call suspects, right? So you've got that group of people that within there, some number of them are going to have this issue. Do you have a general sense of what the, density of people who have this is? Like what's the...
Yeah, I mean, most of these folks, they're golfers or tennis players. I would say, I hate to throw a number out there, I would say at least half have some type of joint pain. For some reason, knee pain is on the rise, knee or hip or back or even shoulder. Oh, by the way, I just emailed you my neuropathy ad for our lasers that has my book there. I just wanted you to take a peek at that. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So when you look at it, so you've got half of the people that may have that sort of, that may have an issue, right? And some number of those may have a bad enough issue that it's like causing them to have a lower quality of life, or it's causing, angst where they would want to look at and get something, fix it. So you've got a nice potentially group of people there. But what we're doing, let's say we've chosen those 20,000. Now, right away, we've limited it to half of them that have some kind of knee pain, and then some percentage of those have bad enough knee pain or any kind of pain that it would be on their mind as they're seeking some kind of solution for it, right? Or they've tried to get some kind of relief for it. So some number smaller than 10,000 of them that are actually your ideal clients. Now, when you're doing something that the response mechanism is come to a workshop, you're getting, like I said, the people who have the issue, who also are willing and available to come to a workshop, So you've got, so you're kind of narrowing it down there. And when the people who respond there, they're kind of like the cream of the crop in a way, right? Like they have to really be able to read into this, that there's something that that could be right for me, And even when I look at the postcard, it's kind of upcoming seminars is really the only indication that there's a seminar for me to come to, right? Like if I look at the postcard, I would say that the headline, Stem Cell Institute of America, that's the star of this, right? That's what this is about. Now, I don't know what that means, but it sounds scary, right? It sounds like that's if I have knee pain, it doesn't necessarily translate to me that this is about me or about the relief that I could get because of this, you know?
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Right. So when we look at it, that the goal would be, if I could wave a magic wand, if I could say, listen, we can mail this postcard to 20,000 people, and maybe some people will come for the seminar, or we could identify the people in here. Like, what if we could get down to the what if we could get the 200 people who have knee pain to identify themselves?
Yeah,
That
so I've
would
asked
be-
about
Yeah.
I've asked about if I can get what's called an ailment list, people with knee pain, people with, arthritis, and
Yeah.
we've tried like Info USA. These lists we haven't found a list that was reliable or responsive yet.
No, that doesn't. That doesn't matter. You've got the thing here. When you're looking at it, what is the number one thing? Knee pain.
Yeah. For instance, did you get my 2 emails? One is our arthritis postcard I used before, and one was a neuropathy news ad. Did you get those emails?
I have the news.
I want you to post it.
Ad here.
All right.
Yep.
Now that's a different niche.
Finally.
That's the nerve pain. Yeah.
Yep.
And you see the book offer. Yeah.
Okay. So, and how do these work? What's been
that's one of my bread and butter ads. It's almost always positive ROI. Yeah.
Okay. And
then the postcard,
mhm.
the second one is the arthritis postcard. Yeah.
Okay. So arthritis pain relief secrets. See, right away, that when you look at this, the difference, when you say Stem Cell Institute of America, or you see arthritis pain relief secrets, it's really interesting the difference in, you can see who the focus is on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Finally, new non-surgical options for bone-on-bone knee pain osteoarthritis. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And so then you've still got you still have the workshops that people can respond to, free lunch and learns.
Yes.
Okay. So I would look at this like that the number one goal, right, of Profit Activator number 2 is to get your ideal prospects to raise their hand. We need to turn invisible prospects into visible prospects. Because right now you can't, like you said, get a list of people who are ideal candidates. It's just tough to get that list with people who have chronic pain, right? So you have to create that list out of the general population, of the people who are in the right age category and the income category that you need, that they're going to be able to do something about it. So we've got to that point, where they live, who they are, how much money they make, and we've got 20,000 of those people. Now our goal is to get as many of those people who have that knee pain issue to raise their hand and identify themselves to us, so that we can go down the path of now educating and motivating those people in Profit Activator 3, right? So now we can, we know who they are. Now we get the chance to send them the book, to send them emails, to videos, to webinars, to whatever it is, and invite them to come to one of the live workshops as the next step, all the while kind of leading people to meet with you face to face. So it's kind of like creating these subsets. Right now, when you look at it, if you mail the postcards and people come to the workshop and people then come in to see you and they end up doing a treatment, those people are all ultimately a subset of the 20,000 people. Okay. And he's back.
Yeah, it looks like we got. So.
I lost you there for a second. So I was describing how of the 20,000, our goal now is to identify as many of those as we can that will identify that they have that issue. So being selfless, not even necessarily using the thing to get them to come to the workshop, but getting them to take the single action that would be the easiest thing for them to do, which would be to ask for a book. Because if they're sitting there and they've got this knee pain and they're looking for a solution for it, those people, there would be far more of those people who would ask for a book than would come to a workshop. Probably 4 or 5 times as many people.
Okay.
And so now, instead of mailing 20,000 postcards, getting a handful of people to come to a workshop and getting them, a few to come into the office, if we can mail the 20,000 postcards, get a few hundred people to raise their hand, and now we've got a targeted list, right? Now we know that those people are enough, they're in pain enough that they would love to get to get a book about it, right? To get the result.
And then what type of call to action would you have in the book? Like call for a consultation or seminar, or
I would so here's the process, right? So I would look at it. So you've even got a book, right? You've got a book, 21st Century Pain Relief. Yeah, 21st Century Pain Relief. Okay? And so when you look at it, your medical breakthrough from chronic pain to vibrant health. So you can, is that a traditional book, like a
Well, I got 3 different covers from that book. One is the knee pain version, one is the neuropathy, and one is the back pain.
Yeah.
Depending on what niche they have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So when you look at that, so the offer, would be the way that we do the books is using them as your opportunity to speak to your ideal audience for an hour. Do a presentation kind of for them to educate, same kind of things you would do if they were to come to a workshop, right? It's not necessarily to be the definitive work or a technical breakdown of all of it. The point, the kind of books we do, and we use the 90-minute book process for these, is to create a lead generation book, right? Where we've got a title that is specific to that audience. We've got a nice looking cover that indicates that this is a book, and then a website that makes it available for people to download, right? So that's all we're looking for, is that once they ask for the book in a way has done its job. So I'm not depending on the book to be the next step. I'm depending on now taking the fact that they asked for the book and engaging with them to help them get the relief that the book promises. Right? So anybody who asks for a book on knee pain relief, you can be certain that they either have knee pain themselves or they've asked for the book because somebody they love has knee pain, right?
Yeah, and then the beautiful thing is they had to have given you their mailing address so you could do follow-up campaigns.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying, is that you get so much more opportunity now, right? And so the way I look at this is that if I can just get somebody who's in knee pain to raise their hand, even if they don't come in right now, even if they're kind of in the middle of something else, or they're about to, they're taking some new supplements, or they're on some physio, or they're doing some chiropractic, or they're doing some kind of, intervention
surgery
with somebody else, that there's a good chance that what they're doing is ultimately not going to work. And that problem is going to come back or not go away. And so in 30 days, 90 days, 6 months from now, when the knee pain comes back up and we are consistently educating and motivating them, showing them story after story of people who are living without pain, and offering to invite them to a new workshop that's right around the corner from them, that's a really cool opportunity, And the fact that
so instead of trying to hit them over the head, come in now.
Yes.
These people, you're nurturing them for when they're ready.
That is exactly right.
Next year, few months, yeah.
Yeah. And that's where we say, whatever you're ready. That's why if you ever see the emails that I send, they're all at the end of every email, it says, plus whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways I can help you. Right? And so every time when you look at it, that the opportunities you have is to join us for a stem cell lunch and learn. We've got workshops coming up. Here's the workshops. Or come into the office for a free consultation, or whatever or talk to us on the phone. Whatever the next step might be that would kind of move people forward,
Yeah, that being said, so
when do your
on that? Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
When will you know the results of your postcard here? I'm going to be very.
I just got the stats from that same design in a half-page news ad. So we ran it twice, and so far 52 calls from that ad with the same design. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, how much did the ad cost that you ran?
That ad is around $600. Yeah.
Okay. And so you spent $1,200 and you got 52.
And typically half will show up to the seminar, and half will actually come to appointment, and half of those will actually pay for treatment. So maybe we'll get about 6 clients from that, paying $6,000. So $36,000 right there. So
yeah. You know what's so funny, Philip, is when I'm going to email you a link to listen to the Melton episode, because it's exactly the same kind of situation.
Are they with the Stem Cell Institute as well, or not by chance?
They are I don't know that they're with Stem Cell Institute, but they do stem cell. That's their that's the treatment that they do. But same thing, they were running, full page ads. They would get people to call and register. Half of the people would come to the workshop. Half of them would come into the office, and then some number of those would continue on to get the treatment. And it works and it's profitable, and they would spend, the money. They were running in the bigger newspaper, so they might spend $5,000 on the ad, and they were, generating $30 or $40 or $50,000 from from it at the end. But that, when we switched to offering the book, now instead of getting the people to come to the workshop, they're getting hundreds of people asking for the book, and then immediately they're engaging and inviting those same people to come to the workshop. So they end up getting more people even at the workshop than they were getting by just advertising the workshop.
Now, besides sending them follow-up emails about inviting them to future workshops, because our senior population, a lot of them really don't like computers or even check their emails.
Right, exactly.
What is a good way? I mean, my postcard, advertising, list, or
physical newsletters, physical postcards.
Yeah.
Where now you know who they are. You've lit up that address as you've got a real person now. You've got not just one of the, a group of 20,000 people who kind of meet the demographic profile of what you're looking for. Now you've got a, few hundred people who are self-indicating that they have knee pain because they asked for a book about getting relief from it,
I mean, we, as you see in my other, the news ad, we use the book as bait, but we make them come to the seminar to get the book.
Yeah, and I'm saying use the book as the way to get them to raise their hand.
Yeah. And although it's going to cost me like $5-6 per book, plus the shipping, maybe $7.
Well, I would make a part of the reason that we use the 90-minute books for this is that those books are they're smaller, and you can shape the message to be specifically about what somebody would need to know and lead them to the workshop itself, or to come into the office, or to get a free consultation. And those books they cost $2.10, as opposed to.
But if it's not, my book's kind of long, maybe more than 100 pages, they're probably not going to read it. If it's smaller,
right?
Read it more. Did you do the book for that other stem cell clinic?
Yeah, we do we do hundreds. I mean, I've got a whole.
So you already know the format, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
We just got to make mine like more niche, like the laser guided stem cell.
Right, and that's the thing when you explain that, and then you share the stories of people who have had the result, like you're kind of talking about those case studies, just like you would. The way that we frame it is what would you say, if you were a guest on a radio show and the whole audience is people who have who have knee pain, and you're explaining the whole process in a non-technical way, really, but just in a way that is, introducing people to the idea that there's such a thing as stem cells and how it works, and overcoming what their objections might be to it, because they might think that, well, that sounds painful, or that sounds like, that it's, I don't want to mess with my genetics or my cells or anything like that. You kind of get a chance to shape the narrative the way they think about it by the way you describe it and the way that you introduce it. And then the whole thing is that on the back cover of the book, is here's what to do next. That's the most important part, right? Because the thing is that you as soon as they ask for it, the book's done its job in that they've identified a visible prospect now, and then you get to engage with them and kind of lead to the next step over a period of time. Because it may be, we find that all of the lead conversion stuff that I do, I base on this understanding that half of the people that inquire about anything are going to do whatever it is they've inquired about within the next 2 years.
Yes.
But only 15% of them will do it in the first 90 days. So I'm looking for that long term, right? I'm looking for the fact that they asked for it today, because that gives us more time to educate them about the process, to show them more and more success stories, to let them try other things that don't work and come to that conclusion on their own. And when they're ready, we're right there for them, right?
Yeah.
Now you can come to this workshop. And once you know where they live, you can only, invite them to the one that's right around the corner from them. Because if I live in Los Angeles, I'm not that interested in what's going on in Palm Desert, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, we used to give out a consumer guide to neuropathy or spine pain, and there would be 3 versions, and each one would, have a call to action to respond before the offer. Yeah. Now, would you say the book versus consumer guide to stem cells is better, or the answer is kind of do both? Or
well, you kind of do both, right? Like I like the thing, Joe Polish and I talk about this on I Love Marketing quite a bit, because there's a real great place for consumer awareness guides and as an educating thing, but they're not as responsive.
Yeah,
I look at them, they're a wonderful Profit Activator 3 tool for educating and motivating, but they're not as compelling as a straight up offer of the benefit that they're really looking for. So knee pain relief, that's the words that are going to be compelling to somebody who's in knee pain, not the consumer's guide to stem cell research, stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
That doesn't do the same thing, right? If you laid those books down on a table and somebody looked at them and they're in knee pain, they're going to immediately pick up the knee pain relief book, because that's the one that promises the benefit. It's compelling to them.
Yeah, the niche, not the...
That's it. That's exactly right. So I think that's there's something to that, and those are the kind of things you can test that with 1,000 postcards. Like you can test with 1,000 at a time to find the I call it the scale ready algorithm. I wouldn't get to a point where I would mail 20,000 of something that I don't know for certain it's the one that's going to win,
Yeah. All right. Yeah, these are all good gold nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're. And there's the thing is, all this has come before, So you've. I'll send you a link to the Melton episode.
All right.
So that you can listen to that too, because we had the same sort of conversation, and we know how that worked out for him. But then would you keep me posted also on the results here as they come in, so I can update it and we can know what happens with this postcard?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll test it when we redesign it according to your recommendations too. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Well, that's very great. that was fun. Boy, time flies, doesn't it?
Well, we already got our first chapter written from my introduction in the laser stem cell program, so you can start writing that. All right.
Perfect.
All right. All right. Well, yeah. Is that it today?
That's it, Philip. Okay. I think that's what's your takeaway here? What's the thing? What do you think you're going to act on here?
I think I kind of had the right idea, but was too focusing on, the stem cell word itself, thinking that that would attract them, where it's really, just go back to what I was doing before and focus on what their ailment is,
Yeah.
They can't golf because of knee pain. They don't want a knee replacement.
Yeah.
They have balance because of neuropathy. Focus on that. And then I could introduce the stem cells at the lecture later, but that's like the side thing. Yeah.
I bet even to this day, poor, Bernice, 91-year-old Bernice, she probably doesn't still know what stem cells are. But
maybe not.
But she knew, if you're mailing Bernice a postcard that says knee pain relief, she's going to be much more interested in that.
Exactly. And then
everybody understands that.
Yeah, and I need to, nurture the lead instead of trying to get them right away by, the follow-up, the book, maybe a consumer's guide, inviting them to future seminars, putting on a drip campaign, email and snail mail. So they're going to come when they're ready, which could be, near future. So
that's it.
All right, that's great.
I like it.
A set of eyes. That was awesome. So you are the eyes behind my head that I didn't see a lot of stuff. So
right, exactly. This is you get to look at it from a consumer perspective. That's the kind of thing. That's how I always look at things. How would they see it?
All right, great. Yeah, send me the link where we could get that book started as well. Okay.
I will. Absolutely. Thanks, Philip.
All right, Dean. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
And there we have it. Another great episode. I'm such a big... Every time we see things like this, every time I see people using workshops as a way to start a relationship with people, then when we talk about the idea of making it easier for people to respond and only focusing on turning an invisible prospect into a visible prospect, how the long-term ramifications of that are incredible. But it also helps the short term, because not only do we get more people responding, that gives us more opportunity to engage with people and to invite them to the exact workshop that you were going to just count on the postcard or the print ad to get them to attend. So double win there. You get more people, and ultimately more people end up coming to your workshops, just like the email that I read from Melton. So there we have it. If you want to continue the conversation here, you can go to More Cheese Less Whiskers.com. You can download a copy of the More Cheese Less Whiskers book. You can be a guest on the show by clicking on the Be a Guest link. And if you'd like to write a book like the ones that we talk about here, I have a whole team of people standing by to help you write and get your book out into the world at 90minutebooks.com. 90, the number 90minutebooks.com. So that's it for this week. Tune in next time and we'll hatch even more evil schemes. Have a great week. Bye-bye.